We will continue the commercial mechanical inspector course M2. We are now in module number 13. Boilers and water heaters, recommended study time 90 minutes. Module 13, required references, International Mechanical Code 2021, Chapter 6, 10 and 14, and the International Fuel Gas Code 2021, Chapter 6, 10 and 14. Illustration 13a, boilers and water heaters. Boilers, water heater, pressure vessels, and solar thermal system all deal with heating water for heating spaces or for direct use. Study tip: the direct use of domestic hot water is covered in our plumbing inspection course. Here we primarily focused on the specific code regulations concerning heating spaces and how the code protects life and property from associated hazards. Chapter 10, boilers, water heaters, and pressure vessels must be installed correctly, not only in smooth operation assured for the installation, but life and property are also protected. Chapter 10 in the International Mechanical Code present regular for the proper installation. Fast facts: this code applies to all types of boilers and pressure vessels, regardless of size, heat input, operating pressure, or operating temperature. Pressure vessels.
Pressure vessels. Because pressure vessels are closed containers designed to contain liquids, gases, or both under pressure, they must be designed and installed to prevent structural failures that can result in extremely hazardous situations. Certain safety features are therefore provided in Chapter 10 to reduce the potential for explosions.
Chapter 14 in the International Mechanical Code established the provision for the safe installation, operation, and repair of solar energy system. Illustration 13b, solar energy systems. These systems are used for space heating or cooling, domestic hot water heating or processing. Although such systems use components similar to those of conventional mechanical equipment, many of these provisions are unique to solar energy system, and those have their own requirements in the code. Boilers, water heaters, and pressure vessels. In this International Mechanical Code 2021, Chapter 10, Section 1001. Before we get started on water heaters, pressure vessels, and boilers, it is important to recognize that International Mechanical Code Chapter 10 is fairly limited in its scope. Chapter 10 includes requirements for components of hydronic HVAC system, but not for any other applications. Let's quickly review what is specifically excluded from Chapter 10. Study tip: International Mechanical Code Chapter 10 exclusions: unheated pressure vessels, portable pressure vessels, container for oxygen and medical gas, unfired vessels smaller than 5 cubic feet at less than 250 psi, refrigeration vessels, see Chapter 11, pressure tanks used to keep moisture out of cables, any boiler or vessel subject to federal or state inspection. Understanding the code: generally, boilers and pressure vessels requirements are covered in ASME Boiler and Pressure Vessels Code. Boilers and pressure falling under federal or state inspection and governed by the National Board of Boilers and Pressure Vessels Inspectors and many individual state and local jurisdiction. Water heater: International Mechanical Code 2021, Chapter 10, Section 1002, International Fuel Gas Code 2021, Chapter 6, Section 624. Here, this illustration 13c, water heaters. Water heaters used for portable hot water and for space heating must be listed in for both uses and sized so that the portable hot water requirements are satisfied. If the temperature need to be higher than 140 for the heating water, a thermostatic mixing valve must be used to keep the portable hot water below 140. Understanding the code, water heaters are more specifically covered by International Plumbing Code (IPC), which we walk through in our commercial plumbing inspector course. No permanent part of building should have to be removed in order to remove water heater. Understanding practice. If a water heater is used for both portable hot water and space heating, the unit should be listed and labeled for both applications by manufacturer. Remember that IPC should the IPC should be followed for water heater requirements. Pressure vessels, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 1003. The ASME Boiler and Pressure Vessel Code is referred as the requirements for the construction and certification of pressure vessels and boilers. No other significant requirements are listed for pressure vessels in the International Mechanical Code.
Welding on pressure vessels. According to the code, when welding is required on a pressure vessel, it must be performed by a quote, an R stamp welder, as certified by the National Board of Boiler and Pressure Vessel Inspectors.
Boilers, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 1004. Illustration 13D. Boiler. Unless a steam boiler, boilers are not intended to actually boil water, only to heat it. Boilers are paired with pumps to circulate hot water through hydraulic piping to heat up space or provide process heat.
Operating instructions. Permanent operating instructions, along with rating data and the nameplate, are required to be attached to the boiler. Boiler controls are set, adjusted, and tested by the installer.
Fast facts. Clearance is required around boiler for inspection, maintenance, and repair at least 18-inch on all sides. Some boiler manufacturers advertise that their boilers can be installed with two units side by side. Configuration and clearness. A side-by-side configuration can be code compliant if it is approved by jurisdiction. The top of boiler have clearance requirement listed in the table 1004.3.1. We have summarized the required clearance here in our illustration below. Boiler type and minimum clearance to ceiling with overhead obstructions. This is summarizing for the table 1004.3.1. Okay, this illustration 13E summary of table 1004.3.1. Okay, take several minutes to read through our summarized table, noting the boiler type, pounds per hour of steam generation and heat output, and the corresponding required clearance. Note that any boiler room required a floor drain. Boiler connection, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 1005. Illustration 13F, shut-off valve. Shut-off valves in the supply and return piping are necessary at each connection to boiler except for single low pressure steam boiler. Safety and pressure relief valve, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 1006. As we understand various valves used on the equipment, it is Helpful to know the safety valves are used for steam boilers, safety relief valves for hot water boiler, and pressure relief valve or pressure limiting device to for pressure vessel. Here, illustration 13G high pressure steam safety valve. High pressure steam safety valve are vented to the outside of the structure, otherwise the requirements for discharge piping, serving pressure relief valve, temperature relief valves, and combination of such valves are listed in the following illustration. For do and don't, for do's and don'ts, do pipe with rigid pipe that can handle system temperature IPC 605.4. Discharge through an air break in the same room as the appliance. Pipe service a single relief device. Discharge to floor a pan serving the appliance, a waste respector, or to outdoor. Discharge is to point observable by occupants, installed to flow by gravity, terminate 6 inch or less above the floor or waste respector. Don't don't use a smaller pipe than the outlet of the valve. Don't connect directly to drainage system. Don't connect to piping serving other relief valves or equipment. Don't discharge in a way that can cause personal energy or structural damage. Don't use a trap. Don't have T or fittings. Don't have a threaded connection at the end of the pipe. Illustration 13H. Do's and don'ts for valves serving pipe under pressure. The left column shows all things required by the code, while the right column lists all things not allowed. Boiler low water cutoff, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 1007. Boiler low water cutoff control are required, or in the case of water tube boiler, flow sensing control. Think about it. Should the water level drop below the lowest safe level, or should the water circulation stop? The control automatically stop the combustion operation of the appliance. Bottom blow of a valve, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 108. Illustration 13, illustration 13I, steam boiler. Steam boiler provide heat and warmth within a steam heating system. They are constantly evaporating water, and the steam often leaks through the piping. In order to make the steam lost through the leaks, more water has to be added in. Understanding design. The required flow of a valve must be two valves in series. If the boiler is able to handle pressures above 100 psi. Hot water boiler expansion tank, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 1009. An expansion tank is required in every hot water system. Think about it. Water expands as it heats up, and if there is no room for the expansion, the pressure of the system goes up, which can cause failures and leak in the piping system. Illustration 13J, closed type expansion tank. Expansion tank can be open or closed. Closed type. For closed type expansion tank, the size of the tank is based on the the capacity of the hot water heating system. This is the closed type expansion tank. Sizing the expansion tank. For any commercial system, a custom design is warranted, and the engineer of record will size the expansion tank along with the boiler system design. Study tip. Here we will briefly cover how to size the expansion tank, both for open type tank and closed type tank. You will not be asked to size the tank on the ICC M2 test. The minimum size of the tank is determined by equation 10.1. Vt equals 0.0004 T minus 0.0466 S divided by PA divided by PF minus PA divided by PO. Vt is minimum volume of tanks in gallon. Vs is volume of system not including expansion tank gallons. L T average operation temperature Fahrenheit or Celsius. PA atmospheric pressure PSI or kilo Pascal. PF fill pressure PSI or kilopascal. PO this maximum operating pressure PSI K PSI. Understanding design. If all of the information for equation 10.1 is not known, the table 1009.2 is sized to size the expansion tank simply based on system volume. This ends up being the more conservative route with larger tank. Here, this open type expansion tank W overflow. This here is a boiler. It's giving the hot air to radiator, the cold water air return, and here is the expansion tank and adding this is the open type, water and air and overflow to exterior drain. For open type expansion tank, the volume required are the same as for closed type, but open type tanks must be located at least 4 feet above the highest heating element or appliance. A 1-inch diameter or larger overflow is required at the top of the tank that is charged to drainage system. Gauges, International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 10.10. Illustration 13L, temperature and pressure gauge. Hot water boilers require both temperature and pressure gauge that indicate the normal range of operation. Illustration 13M, water gauge glass. Here, steam boilers require a water gauge glass with the midpoint at the normal water level as well as the pressure gauge. Solar thermal system, International Mechanical Code 2021, Chapter 14. Chapter 14 addresses solar thermal system, not photovoltaic or PV system. Solar thermal system. Solar thermal system take the sun energy, convert it to heat and transfer the heat into the intended space. Design and installation. International Mechanical Code 2021, Section 1402. For solar system thermal system, specifically the International Code Council has published a standard that is more specific and references multiple times in Chapter 14. This standard should be referred to should you come across a solar thermal system ICC 900 SRCC 300 minimum standard for solar thermal system. As with any mechanical system, access is required to all solar thermal equipment for maintenance. Pressure and temperature relief valve requirements. Here illustration 13O is the relief valve. Pressure and temperature relief valves are required for each section where excessive pressure could develop. If a vacuum is possible, the components should be designed to withstand a vacuum or be protected with a vacuum relief valve. Drain back system, freeze protection valves. Drain back system allow for the gravity draining of fluids for areas that could freeze into location not subject to freezing. Air replaces the liquid that drain back. Think about it. Components must be installed to allow air to fill the system when it is drained and for the air to leave the system when it is filled back. A 2% slope is required on horizontal valve. Freeze protection valve are typically used when there is moderate possibility of freezing, not in areas subject to hard freeze. Portable and non-portable water. Portable and non-portable water solar system are sometimes used to heat portable water that is good for drinking. If that it is the case, international building code must be followed, and the portable water has to be protected. Here, illustration 13b, double wall heat exchanger. If a non-food grade fluid is used, a double wall heat exchanger must be used to separate the non-food grade fluid from the portable water. Piping insulation. All pipes used in solar system must be insulated except for the following: pipe used to prevent system from overheating, pipe used to collect solar energy, pipe in the system using unglazed collectors for a swimming pool. Did you know the R value rating on any items indicated its ability to resist heat transfer by conducting through the insulation? The higher value, the greater the insulation properties of the material, resulting in less heat loss. Fast facts: hot water storage tanks are insulated with an R value at least R12.5. Illustration 13Q, drain caps. Here, valves are required to isolate the solar loop from the rest of the system. Drain and fill valves require drain cap. Think about it. For solar thermal system, expansion tank are sized with an additional acceptance volume equal to the volume of the solar collector. Heat transfer fluids for solar thermal system, International Magnetic Code 2021, Section 1403. Fluid used for heat transfer have good regulation surrounding the temperature. One important criteria is the fluid flash point. Fast facts. Flammable fluids are not allowed to be used as heat transfer fluids. Labeling of solar thermal systems. International Mechanical Code 2021 Section 1404. Boiler mode. Illustration 13R labeling. Generally speaking, mechanical equipment is required to have a manufacturer information with model number on permanently attached label. The same requirements goes for collector and storage tanks in solar thermal systems. The code is specific about fluid labeling of 4 valves. Drain and fill valves must be labeled with one of the following. Study tip. One of the following labels required on drain and fill valves. Potable water, food grade fluid, non-food grade fluid, toxic. The following labels is required on the drain and fill valves regardless of fluid types. Study tip. Label required on drain and fill valves. Fluid could be discharged high temperature or pressure or both. Unauthorized alternation to this system could be result to a health hazard or hazardous condition. And the heat exchangers required one of the following labels. Study tip. One of the following labels required on heat exchanger: single wall without leak protection, double wall without leak protection, double wall with leak protection. Let's check the quiz. The quiz: a steam boiler is a high pressure boiler if it's operated at pressure greater than 15 psi. What is the clearance required over the top of 6 million BTU per hour steam boiler that operate at 18 psi without manhole on top that generates steam at rate of 4,000 pounds per hour and has a heating surface of 900 square feet? This 7 feet. This from table, okay, 1004.3.1. Which of the following require two bottom blow off valve? Steam boiler operating at 120 psi. The heat transfer fluid for solar thermal system must have a flash point that is 50 Fahrenheit above the maximum no flow operating temperature in the collector. Above what temperature is thermostatic mixing valve required for the portable hot water system? It is 140 Fahrenheit. So today we finished module number 13, boilers and water heaters. The next and last one is module number 14. After this we will prepare for the test with the strategies of the test and with the two practice tests. So the next module is cooling. This very important module also.